good morning in Russian. Evarist, I told you it was going to be Dobroye Utro. Learn a word, man. Learn a word. This is Russia. Of course, the teams are already in the tunnel. Here they are, the three guys charged with refereeing this game. Khalid Saleh Al-Turais from Saudi Arabia as the main coach. Omar Ali Al-Jama is first assistant, and Hesham Mohammed is the second assistant from Saudi Arabia. And strongman Dimitri Barinov, captain for the team this afternoon.
Les Lions indomptables et les joueurs qui entrent donc sur la pelouse en même temps que l'artiste est en train d'achever son animation. Tokarev, justement, qui leur permet donc de montrer quelle animation des grands jours. Pourtant, il ne s'agit que d'un match amical entre Camerounais et Russes. C'est le deuxième de l'histoire du football. Le dernier match amical entre le Cameroun et la Russie remonte en 2011. Et là, on s'était déplacé plutôt sur le stade de Red Bull Salzbourg pour un résultat de 0 but partout. Neutralité entre Camerounais et Russes.
Звучит государственный гимн Камеруна.
It's time to honor the flag. And there goes the national anthem for Cameroon. Now it is going to be the Russian anthem.
Давайте выше флаги, которые есть на вашей трибуне. Да. Давайте окрасим стадион в триколор. Мы просим всех встать. Звучит государственный гимн Российской Федерации в исполнении заслуженного артиста Российской Федерации Ильдара Абдразакова.
Maintenant, levez-vous s'il vous plaît, l'hymne national de la Russie, chanté par l'artiste honoré de la Russie, Ildar Abdrazakov.
Великая слава, твое достояние на все времена. Славься, Отечество, наше свободное, братских народов союз вековой, предками данная мудрость народная. Славься, страна, мы гордимся.
And the excitement is heavy for the Russians. This is a great moment. It is not just a friendly. This is an international game. Since the ban, they've had to play very many international matches with Asian teams. You've heard already Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Iraq, Iran. They've also had to play against Qatar. And this match against Cameroon should be a veritable test for them. And here we go with the lineup for Russia. You would notice that there is no player selected in the Russian side who is up to 30 years old. The average age of a Russian in this friendly is 24 years old, and a great number of them, I should say about 95% of the Russians in this game, they play in the local, play in the Russian league. You hear of Moscow, Dynamo Moscow, you hear of Rostov, you hear of Zenit St. Petersburg, you hear of all of these teams. They are from here. Of course, we told you already about the referees from Saudi Arabia and the two captains, including Dmitry Barinov for Russia, and of course, Cameroon's captain, Vincent Aboubakar.
Ah oui, et donc les buts du Cameroun, c'est Fabrice Ondoa et Bogo donc titularisés aujourd'hui, alors que la charnière c'est Oumar Gonzalez et Harold Moukoudi qui seront en centraux. Jean-Charles Castelletto va jouer dans le couloir droit comme arrière droit, et ces retrouvailles, seule belle image entre Valérie Carpin et Rigobert Song-Banak. Eh bien, c'est pas la première fois que les deux messieurs se rencontrent. La toute première fois, c'était en 1994. Nous étions alors aux États-Unis à la faveur de la Coupe du Monde. Le match Cameroun-Russie, malheureusement, Rigobert Song-Banak n'a pas participé à ce match, alors que Valérie Carpin, le sélectionneur russe, était titulaire avec le dossard numéro 10. Match au terme duquel le Cameroun s'était incliné lourdement, 6 buts à 1.
Beautiful thing for both coaches. They were there and they played before. Rigobert Song was on the side that considered 6 goals, and for the referee, for the coach of Russia, Valery Georgievich Karpin, he was on the side that considered just a goal. So both guys are meeting again. They have taken over the coaching sides, the coaching of the national teams. This is the very Rigobert who said, well, of course, this game is very, very important, as it's going to help them prepare, of course, for the Africa Cup of Nations. Look at that, Evariste. Of course, the kick-off quite well taken and given. It is going to be a party. You know, winter is approaching, so you should be expecting plenty of cold at this moment in Russia, especially in Moscow. And we were saying that for the Russian side, most of the coaches, 14 coaches since 1992 to 2001 were all Russians. Very few coaches have come from outside to coach the national team.
Et c'est parti donc pour ce début de match entre le Cameroun et la Russie, match amical sur la pelouse moscovite. Le Cameroun, pour la deuxième fois de l'histoire, donc affronte la Russie en match amical après le face-à-face de 2011. La première possession de balle du Cameroun. La récupération, c'est le Russe. Et cette balle qui rentre très tôt dans la surface de réparation du Cameroun. Le centre par la suite qui est contré. Et immédiatement le premier corner sur cette balle empêchée par Noutolo, le premier corner du Cameroun, alors que les belles images se succèdent. Ah, vous avez peut-être pas reconnu là l'entraîneur qui a donné le coup d'envoi de ce match. C'était l'entraîneur des Lions indomptables en 1990 en Coupe du Monde italienne, Valéry Nepomniachtchi, que vous avez donc pu revoir là. C'est celui qui a permis au Cameroun d'atteindre les quarts de finale. Vous venez de le revoir en accolade avec Rigobert Song-Banak, alors qu'on attend l'exécution de ce corner. C'était plutôt un coup franc à Ça commence fort difficile pour les Lions indomptables.
veritable test for Fabrice Ondoa because they are playing against a Russian side, quite young, quite vivacious. Most of the players play in their local championship, so they are always together. This is going to be a very difficult moment for Fabrice Ondoa because then you are going to expect to get a lot of cohesion. You're supposed to get a lot of understanding among the Russians. Even at this moment, as they continue to drive forth, we are going to see a lot of that in this game because it's a team that works greatly together, even in the local championship. And so it is going to be a real test for the Indomitable Lions. A special moment. mmmJapap, who starts this game, looks for the opening. Finds Ondoa. mmmJapap comes back, looking for an open door. He presses forward, but it goes out of the field of play. Of course, you could count on mmmJapap with the great work that he's done so far. Remember the Africa Cup of Nations, and his contributions even in this game should not be underestimated. The Russians take off Sofanov Matvey, 24 years old. This is his 11th appearance with the Russian national side. Sofanov. The Russians press, looking for the overlap. Pinaeva Sergei getting into Cameroon 6. Watch out.
Ah, il avait pratiquement réussi une course en solitaire. Sergei Diayev au côté gauche, sur le flanc gauche camerounais. L'ailier du locomotive Moscou. Ah, il a déjà joué 35 matchs hein, et il a pu marquer un but déjà. Et d'ailleurs en match amical, c'était lui le deuxième buteur face à l'Irak. La récupération, celle les Russes avec cette balle rapidement en avant. Attention, c'était lui à nouveau, Sergei Diayev. Ah, il faudra bien le surveiller, il est très remuant.
Look at that, Evarist. Watch out, and this guy is only 18 years old. 18 years playing for Russia Lokomotiv Moscow. 11 matches since the start of this season and 1 goal. So he has been on duty. He's got so many matches in his laps. Sergei, you have to watch this, man. He's the youngest Russian junior national team player. And so far, he's the youngest player on the turf. Quite vivacious. He's a young man who has a lot of tacts to play. After playing with the youth team, still with the youth team, he's been called to play up with the national team. For Cameroon, they've maintained their green, red, yellow jersey.
Omar Gonzalez, première titularisation. Le duo de l'axe central du Cameroun avec Harold Moukoudi. Et ça, personne ne l'attendait, hein, de Rigobert Sombanac. Plusieurs avaient plutôt espéré une titularisation de la doublette Christopher Wu et Jean-Charles Castelletto. Il y avait beaucoup de bouleversements. Jean-Charles Castelletto excentré plutôt à l'arrière, comme arrière droit de la défense du Cameroun. Pas de Christopher Wu comme titulaire. Mais alors, une confiance accordée à Omar Gonzalez et Harold Moukoudi au niveau de l'axe central du Cameroun. Une autre montée, celle de la Russie avec Sergei. Cette fois-ci, Sergei Volkov. Intervention de Noutolo qui replie sur le portier camerounais Fabrice Ondoa. A déjà crédité d'un premier arrêt décisif. Dès les premières minutes de ce match, Fabrice Ondoa et Bogo, le joueur de Nîmes Olympique en national. Ah, c'est la 3e division française. 43e sélection avec les Lions, mais en club, il attend toujours de jouer son premier match. Son nouveau club français, Nîmes Olympique. C'est le club correspondant à la 3e division française, Fabrice Ondoa. Mais cela n'a pas pu déteindre sur la forme du gardien de but champion d'Afrique avec les Lions de Notable en 2017.
It's quite a good work that we're watching from Fabrice Ondoa, and then you see Nuhu Tolo getting up to play with mmmJapap. Only at this moment, we have to follow the Russians. India drive up front. Watch out. They seem to be very, very, very attentive and watching the game as it goes. This time, Chalov Fedor. And this one, quite young, the players, the Russians on this turf, quite young, the players working together. I think you get a few players who are one coming in from France, another one coming from Atalanta, and then another one coming from Italy. But mostly they play at home. An action shot against the bar. Denies Russia an opportunity to shake the net for the first goal. 7 minutes into the first half of this game.
Ivan Obiakov, on va ici sur son pied gauche, la frappe qu'il croise et qui s'en va heurter le montant gauche de Fabrice Ondoa. Et Bogo, il ne l'a pas touché. Ah, il a effleuré très légèrement pour la sortir d'orbite. Revoyez ici la parade de Fabrice Ondoa. Il heurte légèrement ce ballon qui passe néanmoins pour toucher le poteau avant de passer. Ce sera dense, ce sera intense. Et c'est ainsi l'intensité du match entre le Cameroun et la Russie. Ce fut le cas en 1994, le Cameroun qui avait dû plier les Chines 6 buts contre 1 avec un quintuplé portant la signature de Lech Salenko. Ce fut le cas aussi même sous l'ancienne appellation de ce pays, l'URSS, l'Union des Républiques Socialistes Soviétiques. 1990, le Cameroun s'était incliné 4-0 face à l'URSS.
We take the action now with this corner kick. 5-6 Russians and Cameroon's 6. Alexander Silyanov trying to take position up front. Watch out with Chalov Fedor. And Soldatenov Alexander has come right inside. It is taken in another way. The Russians seem to watch out clearly on what to take. Open wide. It's quite lifted how many Russians are in the 6, but it gets into the hands of Fabrice Ondoa, who has a lot of pressure today. The pressure is going to be huge on him because already the Russians have shown every sign that they are going to commit a lot of attacks in this game. So his vigilance, his steadiness at the goalpost will work for him if he really wants to prevent the onslaught from Russia.
Fabrice Ondoa sur le qui-vive désormais après les 2 premières alertes russes. La récupération du Cameroun. Harold Moukoudi à l'axe. On va y aller très rapidement. Jean-Charles Castelletto de la poitrine. C'est au milieu, Brian Gomme pour sa première, pour Vincent Boiscard qui rentre dans le vase. La frappe croisée contrée du capitaine des Lions indomptables, qui est allé un peu plus précipitamment que d'habitude. Voici la relance, on verra juste derrière donc le ralenti de cette occasion, la toute première du Cameroun. C'était aussi la première fois que les Lions indomptables atteignent la surface de réparation russe.
Just a little conviction was needed for Vincent Boubacar to take that. Look at that. He had a good position, quite in between 2 white shirts. He breaks out, and normally Vincent Boubacar, in his real self as a central attacker, would have gotten that. It was just a lack of a bit of conviction in the way he took the shots there. He stopped by goalkeeper Sovanov McVeigh. It just tells you how prepared both sides are and what's the desire in their hearts. Harold Moukoudi. He lifts it up.
En termes
Lugutolo stops.
Au moins en termes d'occasion, le Cameroun aura réagi déjà aussi une fois. Ça fait du 2 contre 1 en termes d'occasion. C'était le premier tir cadré du Cameroun. Et c'est bien ce qu'il faut faire, cette action suivie d'une réaction.
We're sure going to have time, my friend, to count all the moves up front. But this is beautifully taken between Mouminga Male and Fabrice and Gaël Ondoa. Mouminga Male would have to raise again into the 6 to try to recuperate that one. Yet is the Russians in control. Sergei Volkov.
Ça passe par l'axe cette fois-ci côté russe. Encore l'axe. Ah oui, on conserve la balle. C'est dans l'ADN russe. Ils peuvent bien aligner une quinzaine, une vingtaine de passes. Ils aiment bien être dominateurs, imprimer leur rythme au match. Ce qui se voit, ils sont rentrés dans celui-ci de façon assez matinale par un coup franc. Une frappe qu'André Onana a dû repousser sur sa ligne de but. Et ensuite, vous avez vu sur une autre contre-attaque, les Russes, toujours par une frappe du pied gauche, sont allés toucher le le poteau du gardien camerounais. Attention, c'est la déviation de la tête. Ah, ça ne sera pas un corner pour le Cameroun parce que Matvey Safonov pour sa 3e sélection, sa 3e titularisation est bien en place. Le jeune gardien de but, c'est plutôt le 3e gardien de cette sélection russe, mais qui bénéficie de la confiance. Attention, le Cameroun qui monte, ça envoie à nouveau. Et le centre, non! L'option, c'est la frappe, mais il est en déséquilibre. Le capitaine des Lions est indomptable, même s'il va bénéficier d'un corner.
He takes the shot appropriately. And you were talking about the goalkeeper who is just 24. Look at that. Vincent Boubacar has everything clear to lift the shot. But it's the wonderful and the brilliant work there by stretched out the right foot up in the air to be able to block that. This is the first opportunity Vincent Boubacar had to create a difference. But the brilliant 24-year-old Sofanov Matvey was quite there. It's going to kick for Cameroon. And the boy coming back, Koundé Malong, lays claim to it. It was a attempted header, which didn't go well. The Russians have the arduous task to clear off the pressure. It is Cameroon's to bring into business.
Il y avait eu un excellent travail de cet homme que vous apercevez, Brian Pemot, sur cette passe adressée à Vincent Aboubacar tout à l'heure, sur ce qui constitue la 2e réaction du Cameroun. C'est du tir cadré côté Cameroun, 2 également côté russe. La Russie justement pour repartir en situation de contre-attaque. Il va accélérer Fidor Chalov qui va solliciter Sergei à la gauche. Revient l'axe, Harold Moukoudi qui est bien en place. En fait, ne se laisse pas compter sur ce coup. Et la balle qui est repoussée, les Camerounais qui continuent de resserrer les lignes, surtout en défense, parce qu'au début de ce match, les Russes avaient trouvé quelques failles. Ils ont dû les exploiter de manière récurrente, mais là, ça devient un peu compliqué.
However, shows, my friend, that on both sides there are openings that, if properly exploited, can produce goals. As much as the Russians, like now, have all the great opportunities, so too the Cameroonians can create and make the opportunity. Chalov Fedor looks right down to find Dmitry Barinov. It is rather Sergei Volkov that gets into that strong tackle there with Mumingama. Look at that, shed pulling. But of course, it's also the physical strength of Mumingama that counts very much in this action. Some of the beautiful moments you missed. This right here is Castelletto, who was trying to bring up an attempt like he did it in Doha, Qatar, in that fatal match against Serbia. Another attempt that stretched out Fabrice Ondoa in that shot. 15 minutes gone. The attempts on both sides have been rated on equal terms, but who gets the first goal is yet awaited. Mumingamalu could not get that, and so Savonov, one of the youngest goalkeepers amongst the 3, charged with the assignment, is here to do a great job. Quickly taken by Cameroon, but not for too long.
La relance de Luce, Gonçal Castelletto. Attention à Oumar Gonzalez, allez très haut là. Le Cameroun toujours, Brian Pemot entre deux, qui obtient le coup franc, le joueur de Brentford. Le voici, passeur de Vincent Aboubacar tout à l'heure. Le voici encore en train de prendre les initiatives. Et c'est bien, hein, il est bien apprécié par bien de Camerounais parce qu'il est porté vers l'avant. Il est plein d'énergie. Et jamais de recul.
He started the season in a very beautiful manner, scored 4 goals, but now he's played up to 10 matches. He's yet to get the 5th goal. But you remember how brilliant he was when Cameroon played against Burundi. We were together in Garoua in that very, very important game. Sam Acheste, Brian Burmer came out all strong in that game. And he's expected to show the same quality of game and the same play in this one.
La remise en jeu camerounaise. Notolo qui s'en charge. Il va trouver près de lui Harold Moukoudi. Raoul Gonzalez. Omar Gonzalez pour Jean-Charles Castelletto et le repli sur Fabrice Ondoa et Bogo. Qui s'essaye depuis le début de ce match de s'employer des pieds aussi.
You got to learn that. Almost all the goalkeepers now in the world, you have to master playing with your hands, but also get to master playing with your feet. That is a great work that Andre Onana has. For Fabrice Ondoa, it is also going to be a plus if he should develop that skill.
Ah ouais.
Here we go, Nuhu Tolo.
Mais Fabrice Ondoa, il a meilleure réputation pour ses arrêts réflexes davantage. Il est très spectaculaire justement. Ce qui a pu contribuer à ce que le Cameroun puisse décrocher la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations 2017 à Libreville au Gabon.
And Cameroon is going to play against Senegal again in the next by Monday.
Ah oui.
I remember that it's Fabrice Ondoa who stopped that penalty from Senegal. I'm talking about in that quarter-final game over there. So it's going to be a great moment.
Vincent Boubacar, cette fois-ci passeur. Le centre, mais un peu trop appuyé, vraiment trop, puisqu'il traverse la ligne de but. Jean-Charles Castelletto, il faut dire qu'il n'est pas très habitué de cet exercice, le défenseur central, utilisé comme arrière droit et milieu de couloir.
Well, there's an opportunity to get used to get used to playing in different flanks as the opportunity shows. And I talked about the goal that Fabrice Ondoa stopped when he consents Sadio Mane, and they are going to face Sadio Mane again on Monday. Watch that.
Le pressing camerounais.
The Dark Invader had already taken up a position. Any mistake there would have cost a lot for Russia.
Castelletto pour Omar Gonzalez. C'est bien ce que les Camerounais venaient de faire tout à l'heure. Le pressing de la surface de réparation russe. C'est ça, Rigobertson, dans sa philosophie, qui veut bien implémenter.
Dark Invader.
Une philosophie. Brian Bomo servi. La pointe de vitesse. Il va toucher une fois le centre. C'est dans les gants. Dans les mains de Matvei Safonov. Le gardien de but russe.
They take that action again. The Dark Invader opens up for Brian Böhme, who marches on. He sees an opportunity to call for Muminga Malo. He takes it back, hoping to get Muminga Malo in that action. A beautiful thought, beautiful one for Brian Böhme, beautiful thought. He tells him, I saw you coming. But of course, goalkeeper Savanov Matvei was quite smart to pick it up before he got to Muminga Malo. About 20 minutes already into the game. The desire for goals grows stronger and higher on both sides. However, the indomitable Lions seem to have taken an urge, and they seem to be mastering it very well. Watch this action again. Here comes Brian Böhme getting into the sixth, but he crashes against the feet of Savanov Matvei. Not lost, very quickly, take it on. The indomitable Lions are in control, my friend. Ah, what an opportunity there, one-on-one, Brian Böhme and Savanov. He played on the turf, but Savanov was a bit smarter. Castelletto, he finds the Dark Invader, Vincent Boubacar. It is not lost, beautiful game, Vincent Boubacar, but there was no one close by to pick up in that smart play.
La récupération russe, alors que précédemment, Brian Böhme avait peut-être le but de l'ouverture, le ballon de l'ouverture du score sur cet appel qu'il a fait, le service qui lui a été rendu. Mais là, il avait pris plutôt l'option de tenter de dribbler le gardien Matvei Safonov, entreprise qui a échoué malheureusement. Et le score ballon toujours resté des 0 buts partout entre Russes et Camerounais, alors qu'on est rentré dans la 21e minute du match. Muminga Malo, le joueur du Dynamo Moscou, c'est son stade d'accueil des matchs avec son club russe. Le Camerounais aux 4 buts en sélection, Muminga Malo. La Russie justement qui va remonter ici par le flanc droit. Et toujours Sergei Volkov, arrière droit, mais qui arrive jusqu'au bout de son couloir. Le Russie qui ajuste le centre. Omar Gonzalez qui est là pour repousser. Il y avait une position de hors-jeu.
Yeah, but you have to notice.
Alors voyons d'abord cette action de Brian Böhme qui était parti là. Il aurait pu jouer de son pied gauche, qui est pourtant son pied favori. Mais voilà que la balle, il va tenter de la glisser entre les jambes de Safonov. Malheureusement, qui avait déjà le genou à terre.
It was quite brilliant for Safonov to close up the gap that was opened by his stretched out feet. Of course, he noticed that if that stayed that way, it was going to be an opportunity for Brian Böhme to be able to pound in, but he closed it up very, very quickly. You have to also notice and be careful how much Ivan Obliakov, shirt number 27 for Russia, and then shirt number 28, Sergei Volkov, can combine with Charles Fedor to create a change for Russia. Here comes Brian Böhme quickly. Did he succeed to get jump?
C'est bien ce que font les Camerounais, on le voit. Aussitôt qu'il y a un appel, on lui adresse la balle à l'auteur de cet appel. Pratiquement toutes les offensives du Cameroun sont construites ainsi. Le coup d'œil du milieu de terrain, que ce soit d'un milieu de terrain, que ce soit d'un attaquant qui soit en seconde zone, mais aussitôt qu'il voit l'appel d'un de ses coéquipiers, il lui adresse une passe. C'est bien si cela pourrait se poursuivre. Côté Camerounais, la récupération russe, pleine médiane. Et la balle pour solliciter Ivan Obliakov, contrer la récupération camerounaise. Tolo qui cherche un soutien. C'est mmmJapap qu'il trouve. C'était peut-être pas la meilleure solution, mais la position de balle reste camerounaise. Tolo sur Gaël Ondoa. Pierre Koundé Malon, le milieu. Oubar Gonzalez, l'arrière central, titularisé pour la première fois avec les Lions indomptables aujourd'hui.
Gaël Ondoa comes back. Harold Mukudi. It was all blocked over there. They could not continue. Tolo and mmmJapap were matching on, but they could not continue. Brian Böhme looking for the extra gear, finds Castelletto, who lifts it up, hoping to find another green shirt. mmmJapap is right here to stop it from going up above the white line. He plays back with Ondoa. The Russians have a mastery in closing up their ranks very quickly, or as soon as the Lions get the ball. Look at their defensive play, quite brilliant. They are smart enough to close up every gap the moment they see the Lions advancing. Tolo tries again with Gaël Ondoa, and then they call back to Harold Mukudi, who would find Koundé Malong. Gonzalez setting up position will not be an easy task when the Russians have built up the two lines. The way they play, you will see their formation 4-4-2, and so they move up, and so they close up the gap. But they are under the pressure that the Lions are subjecting them right now. The dark invader, Vincent Aboubakar, but he opens it again very quickly for Omar Gonzalez to find Brian Böhme. Quickly, Olivier Cham. Ondoa comes back. Again, the Russians have closed up the doors. They have packed the train. Koundé Malong. A lifting, hoping to find mmmJapap. He succeeds. He was offside. It's a call against mmmJapap in this one.
Ah ouais, il est hors jeu. C'est juste ce coup de sifflet indiquant donc une position illicite de Nicolas mmmJapap. Il a le sourire en coin. Une façon de reconnaître qu'il était un peu plus avancé que le dernier défenseur russe. Les Russes, justement, la récupération de balle. Retour sur le gardien Safonov. Ah, c'était lui le titulaire lors du match amical Russie contre Qatar. C'est le dernier en date. De plus en plus, celui qui était troisième gardien de cette sélection russe bénéficie de la confiance de Valérie Carpin. Ah, il n'y a pas faute, dit-on, sur Olivier Cham. La récupération donc pour la Russie. C'est par le flanc gauche qu'on va tenter de passer. Pas de solution. On va en chercher ailleurs. Alors que les Lions indomptables se sont repliés déjà. Il laisse peu d'espace et donc diminue les moyens d'expression à la sélection russe.
But you notice that when they go up, they all go up together. And when they are falling back, it is the entire team that falls back together. This is just how they've been playing. Osipenko Maxim controlling the ball right now. Finds very quickly. Here he is, Sergei Volkov. I told you to watch out with Sergei Volkov and Ivan Obliakov. It's a tough work. Harold Mukudi has a tough time. Look at that moment. Not very good for the Russians. It is Brian Böhme who comes right up or right back to get it. Malong, Koundé Malong. who was not there in the expedition against Burundi, but got the news and came in with the flair of the game. And quickly, the Russians have taken up position backyard. Kone Malong. Mumingamale answers. Yet the holding midfielder looks around for who takes the next shot. It is going to be like this until they can get the antidote that breaks this defense that looks united, looks gathered, looks assembled. A shot crashes against the back of Daniel Glebov, and it's not lost, it's still green.
C'était le pied gauche d'Olivier Cham. Le milieu de terrain de Samsung Sport en Super League Tug. Pour sa 7e sélection aujourd'hui, il est quand même présent dans le milieu de terrain camerounais, même si d'aucuns attendent de le voir plus appliqué dans le rôle de piston qui lui est confié, puisque Kone Malong est un peu en arrière pour la récupération. Gaël Ndoa et lui sont chargés de faire une navette entre la défense et l'attaque. Donc il faut un peu plus d'accent à ce niveau. Côté Olivier Cham qui n'est pas mal comme milieu de terrain. Gaël Ndoa aussi.
Yeah, but that is the importance of a friendly, my friend. That is the importance of a friendly. When you play against a team that quickly regroups and stands behind, you must look for a way to emasculate the defense that gathers on you like the white on rice. You must look for a way to dismiss the white shirts. You must look for a way to sail through. That is also the importance of a game like this one. The Russians have an opportunity to open and close backyard.
Ils sont en panne de solution, les Russes, devant le repli défensif camerounais. Mumingamale pour cette contre-attaque, il est passé en beauté. Gaël Ndoa qui trouve Olivier Cham à la droite. Toujours à la droite cette fois. C'est Jean-Charles Castelletto qui est sollicité. Brian Pemeux. Il est excellent du pied gauche. Donc sans doute il va revenir. C'est le cas sur Jean-Charles Castelletto. Olivier Cham à nouveau. Parce que là-bas aussi, dans la défense russe, il n'y a pas assez d'espace. On va tenter par la droite. C'est trop long. Trop long pour Nutolo qui n'a pas pu la récupérer. La possession de balle reste quand même camerounaise. Fabrice Ndoa. C'était à la limite. Pas de panique côté camerounais.
They would have to be careful, Evarist, because if a goal comes in from the Russian side with the way they build up and with the way they close up in their backyard, it will be difficult for Yaoundé to send a reply to Moscow. So in this kind of a game, as much as you go up front and you try your game up front, you also should be very, very careful to make sure that your backyard is as close as you'd have it to be. Nutolo. He's been very busy. Yeah? He's been very busy, Evarist. He's played almost all the matches of his team in the United States of America. I'm talking about Nutolo, quite present in his team at every moment, playing almost all the games, I should say. Olivier Cham calls back quickly to Kone Malong. Trying to get Aboubakar Vincent.
And
it is still them. Kone Malong, what does he do? Has all the time to sweep around.
Gaël Ndoa. Nutolo. L'appel de Mumingamale. Pas de réponse. Harold Mokodi pour Kone Malong. Et vous suivez bien cette ambiance dans les gradins. Le public russe qui donne de la voix au moment où Vincent Aboubakar manque de domicilier ce ballon entre ses deux pieds. La récupération russe dans sa défense a accueilli plein le stade qui accueille cette rencontre, le stade VTP Arena Park. 26 319 places, toutes occupées. On avait réservé une portion de 1000 places aux Camerounais.
Because they didn't think that, whatever the case, Cameroonians could beat it more than 1,000. they came right in. During the Confederations Cup, Evariste, the Russians supported Cameroon very much in all the matches that Cameroon played in Russia. A lot of times, even out of the stadium, when you're walking around, the Russians would want to take a picture with you. They are excited. Where are you from? Cameroon. And then they would call Roger Miller. They would call Samuel Eto'o. Watch out. Gaëlen Douakem comes out, and it is Castelletto who helps him to pick up that one, because in his outing, he lost it already. He was very fortunate for that goalkeeper that Castelletto was there to stop it back into his hands.
Ça, ouais, c'était... Donc Jean-Charles Castelletto, c'est la star du couloir droit aujourd'hui, mais qui a le réflexe toujours de revenir en défense centrale.
See, there's quite some crowd on Vincent Aboubakar. Look at that now. That's exactly what we were saying. He missed it. Thanks to his guts, that Castelletto was right there to help stop it. Watch out. Muminga Maleu looks for a way out. Fabrice Ondoa is called out to help. 32 minutes and counting into the game. Olivier Ncham. Castelletto back again. But you were talking a minute ago about Castelletto playing in the right flank. Of course, taking business that Faye Collins would have occupied. But he's doing quite a good job at least. I think it's commendable so far. Here he goes, Castelletto. Properly saying, and Sovanov, Matvey was easy.
Le dernier quart d'heure pour Safonov, le gardien de but du FK Krasnodar. Attention, il n'a connu qu'un seul club dans sa vie, le gardien russe. Depuis son début de carrière professionnelle, il n'a évolué qu'à Safanov. Un peu plus de 150 matchs joués avec ce seul et unique club. Celui qui a une traçabilité avec les équipes nationales russes. Il a été moins de 15 ans, moins de 16, moins de 17, moins de 18, moins de 19. Il a été espoir avant de devenir joueur de la sélection première. Et c'est son 9e match avec l'équipe nationale, mais sa 3e titularisation pour celui qui était jusqu'ici le 3e gardien de la Russie.
The Russian local league seemed to have developed and has gathered a lot of support, first of all, for the Russians. Other Asian teams have been calling for Russia to play more with other Asian teams and Southeast Asian teams like Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. Since the issues with UEFA and FIFA, they've had to play matches with Asian teams. And so other Asian teams have been thinking that Russia should come back and play in the Russian bloc. But well, they continue to press on. And as far as the national championship is concerned, it is for the Russians very strong, because now most of these players, you hear them playing Rostov, you hear them playing Russia Lokomotiv, you hear them playing Zenit St. Petersburg, you hear them playing CSKA Moscow, all of them. Beautiful moments for Russia, taking opportunity. Watch out with Ivan Obliakov. And they continue, the Russians. The last shot did not go in through, but they are still on, in control. And this is Sergei Volvol. Fabrice Ondoa stopped the fire, calms the pressure. But for how long?
Il a réussi à nouveau en attaque. Et là, il va se trouver le pied. Raúl González pour se dégager. C'était un peu chaud là pour la défense camerounaise avec cette balle qui aurait pu rentrer dans les filets du Cameroun. On y reviendra certainement tout à l'heure. Revoyons ce que peut faire ces Russes qui maintiennent donc leur pressing. Ils vont monter à nouveau. Il faut faire confiance à Dimitri Barinov, le capitaine de cette équipe, qui va solliciter Ivan Obliakov, tenu de près par Nuhutolo, qui d'ailleurs obtient un coup franc.
He did not want to let Nuhutolo go. Ivan Obliakov kept holding down Eto'o, and at one point you see how Eto'o reacted to that.
Ah oui, voici. Donc c'était là la frappe. Et son doigt, ça, on l'a vu plusieurs fois en 2017 lors de la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations. Cet arrêt, lui qui évite donc au Cameroun son premier but, une fois encore, alors qu'il avait très bien dressé sa chambre d'Aler Kouziaf. Ah, c'était pour crucifier le Cameroun là. Il n'y aura pas donc d'ouverture du score avant les 38 premières minutes, même si la Russie va monter à nouveau ici, la balle en finesse. Harold Moukoudi pour la stopper. Le Cameroun qui se bat tant bien que mal. Il va obtenir un coup franc Olivier Ncham finalement, devant le pressing et l'omniprésence russe dans la défense du Cameroun.
Dale Kouziaev, I think that should be the oldest of them all, 30 years. He is the most capped player of the selection, 46 appearances with 2 goals. Boy plays in Le Havre, that is in France. He's already registered 2 goals at the start of this championship with Le Havre, with 8 matches played. That's the most capped player, the oldest of them all. We're talking about Dale Kouziaev, who almost got a goal a few minutes for Russia, but it's not for any moments now. Here comes Cameroon.
Match amical mais très ouvert. Le Cameroun par Vincent Aboubakar. Brian Pemeux, le coup d'œil. Il va prendre appui sur Olivier Ncham qui arrive en retard, du moins un peu moins rapidement qu'Alexander Silianiou, qui est passé devant lui pour récupérer cette balle. Le Cameroun qui tentait de réagir au ressentir cadré russe.
They should watch out with these last few minutes, because these last few minutes the Russians seem to have stepped up the pressure a little. In this last few minutes, just about 7 more minutes into regulation, Vincent Aboubakar takes that, turns around and quickly finds Brian Bömer. But there was a speed from Ivan Obliakov that passed in front of him, made him to lose focus and to lose control in the tracking of that one. We're saying that in just about 6 minutes, it is going to be enough for regular time. Cameroon has not been able to score, but they have tried many times. The Russians have not had the opportunity. Fabrice Ondoa said no. And we go again with Ivan Obliakov.
Ah, en 3 passes, on est déjà en train de tenter un centre près de la ligne de but. Côté russe, là on est allé très rapidement. Une copie du système anglais. Ah, ce kick and rush. 1, 2. La 3e balle, on était déjà en situation de centre. Heureusement qu'il y a eu le retour défensif de Eto'o.
In that tough battle with Sergei Volkov, the Russians get a corner kick, and almost all of them are inside Cameroon's 6. Sergei Volkov turns out to find Pinal Sergei. It is Fabrice Ondoa who stops it, but unfortunately for him, it is goal number 1 for Russia. This last minute, I told you they need to watch out this last minute. Cameroon, and it is Shalov Fedor who takes the header and scored goal number 1 for Russia. The Russians are in total joy and happiness in this game, which to Russia is a strong international game with all the worth and weight that is supposed to carry.
On peut le revoir ici avec ce centre qui va partir sur la ligne, pratiquement. Dans un premier temps, Fabrice, on doit stop sur la ligne. Mais la deuxième, c'est un peu compliqué pour lui, qu'il était déjà en déséquilibre. Vous allez le voir ici, la tête plongée de Fedor Shalov, l'attaquant du CSKA Moscou, justement, qui ouvre donc le score pour l'équipe nationale russe. Sa 6e sélection qui est arrosée, couronnée par ce but qu'il inscrit jusqu'ici. Il ne l'avait pas réussi sous les couleurs russes. C'est donc son ouverture de compteur, ce qui n'est pas pour plaire à Harold Moukoudi, la défense centrale, qui n'a rien pu faire sur ce coup. Omar Gonzalez, Harold Moukoudi, pas content du tout. Désormais, c'est un but pour la Russie et 0 pour le Cameroun.
Chalov from CSKA Moscow. 6 goals. You should know that Fyodor Chalov So far, he's the highest goal scorer in CSKA Moscow with 11 matches and 6 goals this season. He's been with the U teams, the Russian under-17, and then came to the national team. 2028, he played with the World Cup team. So his father is a chemist, his brother footballer, that is Danny Chalov, he himself footballer Chalov. So there is everything to count for Chalov Fedor to get that goal.
Chalov Fedor, joueur officiellement du CSKA Moscou, mais prêté au FC Bâle en Suisse. Là-bas, il a déjà joué ses 16 matchs, a réussi à marquer 4 buts. Vous comprenez donc il est toujours à la recherche du but, Fedor Chalov. Nul doute donc qu'il revienne encore cogner à la porte de Fabrice Ondoa tout à l'heure.
He just scored his first international goal, Everest, so that is going to be everything to celebrate for Fyodor Chalov. He's got his first international goal in this game. Fabrice Ondoa, after the great work that he did, at the end of the day, he considered the goal. Managing the last minutes of the game still becomes an issue for the Indomitable Lions to handle. Nuhutolo. He was very much involved in that goal in the sense that he flew up to clear it, but it was difficult. Kunde Malong. Can he succeed to get the dark invader Vincent Boubacar, who sets it before he's brought down to Muminga Maleu? And again, he was stolen off his boats. Referee from Saudi Arabia, Khalid Saleh Al-Turais, says it's ball for Sofanov Matvey.
Khalid Saleh, saoudien, arbitre central de ce match. Saoudien autant que Omar Ali, le premier assistant, Mohamed Essam également, le deuxième assistant de ce match. Et même au niveau de la VAR, parce qu'il y en a, au niveau de la VAR également, on retrouve 2 juges saoudiens. Moumi Gamaleu. Gamaleu pour Vincent Aboubacar, un peu hésitant, et la récupération russe. C'est formidable ce que font les Russes aussitôt récupération opérée. On fonce rapidement vers l'avant avant de trouver obstacle et replier.
It's a team that plays like a block, Evarist. Yeah. When they are moving up, it's everybody moving up. When they are coming back down, it's everybody coming back down. They play together. They play in the local championship. They are always together, my friend. It's something you should give it to them. They have built this understanding over time. Nuhu Tolo stops it, very much to the joy of the Cameroonian fans. 30 seconds into regulation for this first half of the game. Gonzalez. Tough one there for Kune Malong, who loses it. And it is going on for Pinaev Sergei. Pinaev Sergei, another opportunity, but Fabrice Ondoa was there. Ivan Obliakov took it, but Fabrice Ondoa stopped it.
Il est bien malin, le joueur de Brentford, Brian Pemeux. Oui, il est placé, le voici en avant. Pour qui, il n'y a presque personne, le retrait contré. Brian Pemeux, il a hésité, le coup d'œil, scrutant la surface de réparation pour le retrait. Comme vous le voyez ici, c'est alors qu'arrive Vincent Aboubacar, mais il est trop tard.
It was delayed, my friend. It was delayed. There was no one running from behind to help Brian Pemeux. In that action there, he was all alone, held down by 4 white shirts. He was stuck in their midst. Just 1 minute of extra time. And very soon, Cameroon, you take over if we have the last action. Watch out again. Sergei Volkov. It is over. The first half is over here at the Dynamo Lev Yachine Stadium here in Moscow. It is 1 for Russia. Nothing for Cameroon as they get out for the first 45 minutes. When they come back, it will be time for Rigobert Samba Hanak to bring in answers to the questions that the Russians have been asking. Halftime here in Moscow. It is nightfall already. Over to you, Yaoundé. It is the second half of this game here. It is the second half of this game in Moscow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The first half went on smoothly and Russia took the lead. In this second half, it is Alexander Sobolev that has taken the place of Fedor Shalov. Make that correction, Alex. For Cameroon, there hasn't been any substitution so far. Cameroon have one goal to respond. Remember, besides just playing this game, there is something that you have to take into consideration. The 6-1 that gave Salenko all the glory in football. The 0-0 means Cameroon has not been able yet. They have not been able yet to teach or to show or to send a stink back to Moscow. But this is the moment, Évariste. One go down, it means double hustle. It means double fight to get back the victory.
Et c'est parti pour la deuxième période de Russie. Cameroun, un but à 0 en faveur du pays hôte, la Russie. Les Camerounais donc qui ont cette pression sur les épaules, disait Benin Boumagana de revenir au score. Eux qui ont à cœur, les Camerounais, les Lions indomptables, de peut-être briser le signe indien face à la Russie. Qu'ils réussissent enfin à remporter un match face à cette sélection. Fut-il un match amical? On le verra bien si cela est possible. 45 minutes donc pour achever cette rencontre amicale. Et la première montée camerounaise enrayée pour une réaction russe. Mokoudi, Fabrice Ondoa et Bogo. Pour maintenant Matvei Safonov, son homologue d'en face.
Matvei has not had any serious thing to worry about. He's succeeding well to keep his ball. He's not considered any goal. On the contrary, Cameroon have one goal to back up. They are trailing right this moment. Let's see how to do that. Watch out. He went up for that header. But then there was, against that very action, Ivan Obliakov. Look at that, rather. It is Pinyaev Sergei. 18 years, the youngest player on the turf for Russia and even for Cameroon.
L'amitié entre le Cameroun et la Russie dans les sélections nationales qui est née dans la douleur et la défaite en 1990. On y reviendra, la montée de Vincent Aboubakar. Ici, le capitaine des Lions indomptables, peut-être le centre cette fois-ci, non. Le crochet, il attend du soutien. Ah, voici qu'il en trouve. Gaël Ndoa pour Olivier Cham. Pas de solution à la gauche. Gaël à nouveau.
Koundé.
Pour Pierre Koundé Malang. Le pied suffisamment long de Omar Gonzalez. Là, ça combine à 3. C'est passé, Vincent. Brian Pomo. Ah, il réussit hein, toujours ses passes à 2 ou à 3, les triangles. Et la pointe de vitesse juste derrière le centre. Et le but Camerounais, non. Oh non.
He was right there, the Dark Invader, but he did not get the finisher. He swept it off, carried it in. Oh, Sa Majesté. Brian Böhme who takes that in an acrobatic style but could not get it, and the Russians break camp, pressing forward like they should. It is the spirit of the game. Delekeyev. A stop there by Alexander Silanov. Danny Glebov. Oh. Let's go on now. It is Koundé Malong driving forward, looking for the extra gear. There was a block in that crossing that he was about to take there with Danny Glebov, quite strong.
On peut revoir ici l'action du Cameroun, le centre. Et puis Vincent Aboubakar, plutôt avec le corps en imposition.
Castelletto. Quickly with Omar Gonzalez. The Russians are celebrating that one with a song that Africa knows so well. Of course, it is a soccer song. It is international. It is known everywhere. Beautiful game with Olivier Ncham. Quite difficult there to get Brian Burmer as the very, very strong and vigilant Alexander Silyanov was very present to stop it. You see that, look at that action again. The Jack Invader was right there, but he swept in between his labs. And then this other acrobatic action by Sa Majesté, Brian Burmer, that did not catch his boots.
Ouais, il a été court, Brian Burmer. Vas-y, Ballon.
He's a strong guy, my friend. 11 matches in Lokomotiv Moscow. Shed number 24, Russia. Pinayev Sergei, the youngest player in this team, shows the world already what the future holds for the Russian national football team. He crashed against the bar. He was denied shed number 20. But look at that on the other side. Earlier on, it is Olivier Ncham who managed to sweep through, but it was very difficult to beat Daniil Glebov and Pinayev Sergei. What a shot for the youngster. That was the best he could do. Sofanov, Matvey to send it all out. Quickly, here we have find Castelletto to find Olivier Ncham. Calls out to Mukudi. Mukudi. Evari said it a few minutes ago that a lot of persons were probably expecting to see a certain Christopher Wu beginning. But this time and in this game, Coach Rigobert Song is testing the strength of all the other players. Remember that Monday is still to come, and playing against Senegal is not going to be any lighter, it's not going to be any easier. With all the players from Senegal that have been called up, Gana Gueye is coming. Of course, the strong man, the one strong man for Senegal is also going to be present. Sadio Mane. Well, that is for Monday, man.
Et le problème d'arrière latéral peut peut-être avoir sa solution en Ligue 1 française. Enzo et Bosset, habile du pied droit, du pied gauche. Technique. Il avait déjà fait démonstration d'ailleurs. On peut revoir ici ce but manqué. La frappe du pied gauche de Sergei Dianiev. D'abord la barre transversale et puis le poteau par la suite. Il s'arrache la chevelure, c'est une bonne guerre.
He had plenty of space there. He was swimming in Cameroon's pool all alone. There was no lion to stop him. And he could take that shot as freely as he could. Except that the bar stopped him from getting the second goal, but he had everything under control. And everything just seemed to have worked very well for Pinayev Sergei. Lively moments of the game. Cameroon against Russia. A friendly, which is weighed in goal for the Russians. Here he goes again. Pinayev Sergei into the 6. He finds for assistance shot number 22 right now, Alexander Silyanov, and the shot comes in. The second goal is added. Is it approved, Evarist? Was there an illicit position, an offside position?
Il y a le centre qui est parfait là.
An offside position.
Le centre de Daler Kouziev au niveau du second poteau et la balle reprise pour tromper Fabrice Ondoa pour le deuxième but. Mais attention, il y avait une position de hors-jeu.
Because he was disallowed, my friend. He was offside. That could not be validated. Brian Burmer in the Russian side of the pitch. Breaks into the 6. Takes the crossing, hoping to get the Dak Invader.
Il fait du grand boulot dans son couloir.
But Osipenko Maxim stopped that. Denied The Dak Invader an opportunity to get an equalizer. Corner kick for Cameroon. You should by now have fallen in love with the game of Bryan Mbeumo. How much he works, how strong he is, how much he keeps his flank of the game, Bryan Mbeumo.
Et les Camerounais qui appellent le but, ils sont bien nombreux, on vous a dit un millier, tout juste derrière les buts de Safonov. Ils sont installés là, ils portent donc leur voix. Le centre,
Taken.
au second poteau, la tête, ce sera à côté. Néanmoins un autre corner pour l'équipe du Cameroun.
That was a bit too long.
Ah ouais. Mominga Maleux en tentant de la remettre de la tête. Koundé Malon, le centre. La déviation. Et ce sera un autre corner pour l'équipe du Cameroun. Les Lions indomptables à la recherche de l'égalisation. Et continue de presser sur cette série de...
Another corner kick for Cameroon. It's taken, but this time he was on the turf and meets a Russian foot. Ondua. Wincham. Mominga Maleux opens it wide. Finds, will he succeed to stop it? He succeeds. Bryan Mbeumo succeeded in that one. He lifts up it, finding to hoping to get Vincent Aboubakar, but it is Ondua who comes in with a shot that goes away from the rectangle. Look at that. Quite stretched out shots. Oh.
La reprise de volée de Gaël Ondua qui s'envole là, loin du cadre de Safonov. La sortie de tous pour le Cameroun. Toujours porté vers l'avant pour rechercher cette égalisation. Notolo. Vincent Aboubakar, Mominga Maleux et la récupération russe.
Beautiful turn.
Intervention de coup des ballons. Olivier Cham. Et à nouveau, on va chercher Mominga Maleux puisqu'il donne de la vie dans son couloir. Il donne de l'espoir aussi de se rapprocher des buts quand il n'en cherche pas lui-même. Oumar Gonzalez. Fabrice Ondoa.
This is Nuhutolo who takes it up. But not for too long. He finds Mukudi, who calls back to Fabrice Ondoa. The search goes forth to find Bryan. He stopped on. Another one-on-one with Bryan, but he misses it again. Crashed against the knee of goalkeeper Favonov Matvey. What an opportunity missed. It is not lost. Mominga Maleux stops it in the 6th. He lifts up it, but he goes again into the waiting arms of Savanov Matvey. Oh, one-on-one, Bryan Mbeumo again. Look at that. This is it again. Look at that. He had all the opportunity. He tried it up again. He was very convinced that he had succeeded to beat Savonov Matvey. For the Russian coach, he seems to be very, very unhappy with the move of his defenseman. Valery Kapin calls out in discontent at the action of that defensive man that gave the opportunity to Bryan Mbeumo. A much better team, whatever the case, Everest. Live at the attack line. Some coordination going up. Mominga Maleux, can he stop it? He stops it. But he only managed to take it off the corner line kick, and it's going to be ball into business. Oh, what opportunities that have come close to Cameroon's footer. but not executed properly. You would say it's a friendly, but it's also a lesson learning moment. Muminga Malaso, Vincent Boubacar, but Vincent Boubacar was 3 steps behind and probably 3 seconds behind to catch up with the 3 steps in front.
Balle un peu trop profonde pour Vincent Boubacar. La Russie pour remonter. Maxime Osipenko qui trouve Sergueï. C'est pas passé puisque la défense camerounaise se retracte.
It's a foul against Russia. The game looks a bit clean. No yellow card so far. Not to talk of a red. Quite a friendly. What opportunities he has missed.
Pour la deuxième fois. Pour la deuxième fois, Brian Bomo à court d'inspiration devant Matvei Safonov.
You got news that Faye Collins is in Cameroon. You got news that he signed with Victoria United. The dependable Faye. Hopefully you'll see him again in the days ahead. Muminga Malo turns around beautifully, but he did not go through to meet Brian Burmer. He takes it himself in a desperate attempt to find a way through the rectangle. You would have 2 players warming up, getting ready to say the Sacramentum Soccatorium before jumping into the pitch. And for Cameroon on the touchline, you would also notice that a few are warming up to come in. For now, it is still the tussle on the turf that matters. The touchline business will come in the next few moments. The Russians play back to control game. Daniil Glebov. He was playing there with Osipenko Maxim. Quickly for... watch that. So that end of Alexandre. Calls back to Sofanov Matvei. The Russians themselves have a lot of thinking to do, man. They have a lot of coordination to do. They might have scored 1 goal against Cameroon, but the fire the Cameroonians came with to Russia looks very, very strong. Watch out against this youngster. He gets into Cameroon 6 and dances with Castelletto. But Castelletto was better in the speed.
Ah ouais, il est impeccable sur son rôle de défenseur axial, Jean-Charles Castelletto. À chaque fois, il y a ce retour défensif qu'il effectue avec succès, comme vous venez de le voir. Le voici dans son couloir droit. Couloir droit de circonstance pour ce match. Brian Bemo, excellent sur sa passe. Olivier Cham, l'accélération avec Vincent Boubacar en combine. La balle à finesse. Voici Vincent, le centre peut-être. Ah, cette balle qui va traverser la ligne. Ce sera une sortie de 6 mètres.
It was too long for Vincent Boubacar to stop that. In the match against Burundi, we saw 2 attackers. There was Vincent Boubacar and there was Maxime Choupo-Moting. A bit difficult in this game with the 4-3-3 formation. You see that he tried his best to be able to stop it, but it was too long for the Dark Invader.
La sortie à l'instant de Ivan Obliakov, qui sera remplacé par Anton Miranchuk, milieu de terrain du Lokomotiv Moscou. Pour été à Levandia en Estonie.
Anton Miranchuk, he's got his twin brother too in this game, man. He's got a twin brother in this game, so it is Miranchuk that gets in. So if you're very, very careful, you will notice that the substitution is bringing in 2 players quite fresh from the bench in this game.
Ah oui, Alexander,
right at this moment.
Miranchuk également, l'autre Miranchuk, mais Alexander lui aussi qui rentre dans l'aire de jeu.
It is twin brothers, Evariste. Be very careful. Arkese Miranchuk, he was born 10 minutes before his identical brother Anton Miranchuk. Both of them, they grew up, they played football in the local side before they were spotted by FC Lokomotiv. And then they later on joined the national football team. So what the coach has brought in, he has brought in a twin. You have Alekesi Miranchuk, shirt number 11. And then for Anton Miranchuk, shirt number 19. Brothers from the same parents who themselves loved soccer. So bringing in a twin into the game. Let's see how much he can change.
Entrée donc des frères jumeaux, Miranchuk. La balle pour Sergei Volkov, la tête défensive du Cameroun. Noutolo. Il est passé, le Camerounais. À nouveau, mais là, la récupération russe. La balle est toujours en possession de la Russie. Le portier Safonov obligé de sortir de sa surface de réparation. Elle est hors de la ligne. Côté camerounais, il y aura du mouvement également. Avec une nouvelle entrée. Ah, c'est sa première convocation et sa première entrée en sélection. Moumi Gamaleu qui sort. Et c'est l'entrée du Toulousain. Ah, très applaudi.
I think here we have Magri.
Magri qui entre donc, Franck Magri, le Toulousain, le joueur du championnat de Ligue 1 française, crédité d'une très belle partie le week-end dernier. Et d'ailleurs, il a fait montre de sa grande classe au sein de cette équipe française, tout autant qu'à Bastia, son équipe précédente. Magri, première convocation et première entrée en jeu donc sous les couleurs vert, rouge et jaune.
I think this just shows Cameroon the hopes and the future of the team. Frank Magri is 24 years old. This season alone, going on, he has scored 10 goals. He scored 3 goals for Toulouse in 10 matches. Tells you what kind of a player, the worth of the player. And of course, Coach Rigobert Sambahanak should have been very vigilant, because you notice that Aboubakar Vincent alone, it was a bit difficult to catch up at the central attack. And now bringing in Frank Magri was to aid Vincent Aboubakar, especially every time you have a man like Brian Burmer going up and getting the crossing, while Aboubakar Vincent, who is in his 30s, could be a bit slower in catching up. We have a Frank Magri. So let's see how this works in the next 23 minutes. This substitution by Rigo Besson. The Russians are coming again closer. Take the game from here with Dela Kunyanev. Look at that! He saw one opening and tried it. Except otherwise, he did not dial the number of Fabrice Ondoa's telephone pole. He went far above the woodwork.
Ah, il a
What a good
constaté.
shot, Anton Miranchuk.
Le nouvel entrant, le jumeau Miranchuk, qui a constaté qu'il avait du champ là, a procédé à une conduite de balle et a sonné la frappe, malheureusement très enlevée. Brian Gomo retenu par le maillot et le coup de sifflet pour ce jeu illicite d'Aler Kouziev. Vous le voyez ici.
It's difficult, man. It's Brian Burmer, man. If you have to play against Brian Burmer and the way you've seen him very vivacious in this game, sometimes that is the only way to prevent the boy from going on.
Ah ouais, il est physique, il est athlétique, il est vivace, mobile également, Brian Gomo.
Beautiful turnaround by the Russian. Sergei Volkov. Right this way. Watch out for the Russians. He did not sweep that well. It goes out of the rectangle. Anton Miranchuk. It's not for nothing that a coach will bring in the twin brothers. Look at that. It's rather corner kick for Russia.
C'était à la limite du jeu de main. Omar Gonzalez.
And it's 18-year-old Pinayev Sergei who lays claim to that ball.
La faute sur Nocturne. Et donc un coup franc camerounais concédé par Anton Miranchuk. Vous voyez ici, tirage de maillot et puis accrochage.
Say you're leading, but you're still the one trapped in the fault of pulling the t-shirts. Tells you how difficult the game is, even for the Russians. And talking about Nuhutolo Evariste, you remember how Nuhutolo held down Mo Salah, Cameroon against Egypt in the last AFCON right here. And at the end of the day, Mo Salah gave him a handshake, that ball. You did a great job, and that is just the kind of work that Nuhutolo has been doing. Beautiful for Gael Ondua and Castelletto to keep that alive until Kunde Malone comes in. Gonzalez breaks through the white shirt. Smart game there. This is the kind of game you would want to see with the Indomitable Lions. But that was a bit too sweet.
Jean-Charles Castelletto. Ah ouais. Pour la récupération, messieurs, il est présent. Attention à Omer Gonzalez, un peu en retard quand il essayait de frapper cette balle.
That was a desperate action by Alexander Sabolev. If you cannot stop it, send it out of the field of play. In another discipline, Evariste, you know very well. You say you lose it, take the serve, and you go for the block.
Ouais.
It was difficult to break through there. There were 4 white shirts. So the move there between Vincent Boubacar and Brian Beme was clear that he was going to face a resistance, a hindrance. Remember Burundi and the mistake of the goalkeeper and the player Evariste. Here he goes, Pinayev Sergei. Pinayev Sergei. He succeeds in that one, but again, Nuhutolo was there to stop it.
Combatif jusqu'au bout, Nuhutolo. Sergei avait déjà fait du bon boulot. Sergei Dianiev. C'est au dernier moment que Nuhutolo est allé empêcher cette balle de poursuivre vers les buts du Cameroun. Samuel Eto'o, le président de la Fédération camerounaise de football.
Cameroonians are saluting his presence.
Ah oui.
Yeah, because since the start of the game, this is the first time they are picking out where Samuel Eto'o is sitting on the stands.
Ah oui, plusieurs le découvrent. La présence de Samuel Eto'o, président de la Fédération camerounaise de football. Ancien joueur des territoires non loin de Moscou. Ancien joueur d'Anzi, Match Kashkala.
Brian. That was a good attempt. How do you say that in French? Evariste says j'étais à l'eau. He took the attempt. He said, okay, let me try the pole.
C'est pas mauvais, cette prise d'initiative. Seulement, la conclusion n'est pas bonne.
Gombeleki, the guy who was absent in the game against Burundi. Jerome Gom, the guy who is known at the World Cup. Jerome Gom, the guy who sets the header for Vincent Boubacar against Brazil, seems to be making his way into the pitch. But not for now. Watch that. This could be a beautiful action. Oh, but he is so smart. Safanov Matvey. Look at that again. Isn't that beautiful? But he jumped out like a cat to prevent Vincent Boubacar the opportunity. Great goalkeeping so far for Safanov Matvey. Jerome Gum is going to come in, man. Watch that action. We got two of them. Jerome Gum says the Sacramentum Soccatorium and gets in the place of Brian Böhmer. Will he be able to produce the kind of game Brian is producing? Let's see what that goes in the next 15 minutes. Vincent Bobaka is stepping out and gives the captain ban to Fabrice Ondoa.
Ah oui, la sortie du capitaine, donc Lyon indomptable, Vincent Boubacar, qui pour ce jour n'aura pas marqué donc par la Russie. Celui qui avait conclu la belle victoire du Cameroun face au Burundi pour sa qualification pour la Coupe d'Afrique des Nations. Entrée également de Darlene Yongwa. Ah oui, Jérôme Gom et Darlene Yongwa, les deux nouvelles entrées côté Cameroun. De nouvelles forces j'étais donc dans la bataille. Côté Lyon indomptable.
So in the game now we have Jerome Gom who has come in, we have Frank McGree who has come in, and we have Darlene Yongwa who has come in. Let's see how that changes for Cameroon. Jerome Gom gets it for the first time, but the pass was not as successful as it is received instead by Osipenko Maxime. This is Anton Miranchuk. Here we go with the newcomer, Darlene Yongwa. Can he maintain the pace? Stopped by the white shirts, who set the game as beautifully as they can. Beautiful game there by Ondoa, who steals that from the control of the white shirt.
Yongwa pour sa deuxième balle depuis son entrée. Côté Malan. Tolo, Gonzalez, Castelletto, Pierre Koundé Malan, combatif et qui obtiendra.
He's had quite a game today, Evariste.
Ah ouais, parce que le marquage, il s'effectue au détail près côté russe. D'abord le pressing haut et puis on occupe bien le milieu du terrain côté russe. Du coup, cela met la pression aux Lions indomptables de prendre la décision une fois que vous amortissez votre balle. Il est passé Oumar Gonzalez, le défenseur central. Mais là, il fallait une solidarité, penser à passer ce ballon à un de ses coéquipiers. Il n'y a pas pensé. Darlene Yongwa. Yongwa, sa troisième balle, le centre un peu trop enlevé. Ah, il avait cherché son camarade d'entrée tout à l'heure, Ngombe Kelly. Ngombe Kelly, le célèbre passeur décisif lors du match Cameroun-Brésil. C'était en Coupe du Monde au Qatar, match de la troisième journée. Passe décisive. Et puis la tête de Vincent Boubacar qui avait abouti dans les filets brésiliens, permettant donc à Ngombe Kelly d'inscrire son nom en lettres d'or dans la sélection nationale du Cameroun. Il a été absent face au Burundi, mais voici que l'ancien joueur de la Colombe sportive du Djel aussi son retour en sélection.
That was an opportunity that the youngster.
Balle sur la barre transversale et sur le poteau.
That was the opportunity for the youngster. He's out of the field now. Pinaev Sergey, that is him there on the bench. His spot on the turf has been taken over by Murkin. Murkin shirt number 26. If you must keep up with the if you must keep tabs with the statistics in this game. Look at that. Omar Gonzalez pressed too hard, pressed his opportunity too far in that action there and lost it, because now after he got the first and got the second, it was a beautiful thing to set the pass for the third, but then it was too late. because there was a white shirt waiting just in front of him, and that's how Gonzalez lost the ball. It is Cameroon's. Now it's a free kick for Cameroon. Beautiful game there so far by Frank Magri from Toulouse. You have to get used to knowing his name and knowing his play style, Frank Magri, because Evariste, you're going to see him again. You'll surely see him on Monday against Sénégal.
Première apparition après le but à nouveau des supporters des Lions indomptables, les Camerounais, vous le voyez, tout juste derrière cette bannière. Et le chrono, l'affichage, le coup franc pour le Cameroun, peut-être l'occasion de revenir à la hauteur de la Russie, mené depuis la 40e minute. Là, c'est la 81e. Koundé Malon. Donc on aperçoit au départ de ce ballon avec Olivier Cham. C'est Cham qui l'exécute. C'est au-dessus, malheureusement. C'est au-dessus, il n'y aura pas de but camerounais, du moins sur ce coup franc, toujours mené. Un but à 0 donc.
But if you look at his facial expression, he tells you that I've seen it, I've seen the way it's going to go. But the curving was not appropriate, because he drops just slightly behind the crossbar of the pole. He saw it in his mind's eyes. They say the pessimist sees a difficulty in every opportunity, but the optimist sees an opportunity in every difficulty. Probably that is where Olivier Cham was stuck in. But watch out. It looks dangerous for Cameroon, and he succeeds. It's goal number 2, approved. That was surely offside. Another offside position for Asen Adamov. Just 23 years old, this young guy, and he plays with Russia Orenburg. 9 matches since the start of the championship for him. All of them. The coach for Russia seems not to agree, but the decision of the referee is final. If you look at that again, 3 offsides registered for Russia and just 2 for Cameroon. In 2 of those 3 offsides for Russia, they scored 2 goals. And they were all disallowed because, of course, the players had illicit positions up front. Look at that shed pouring. The Russians could be leading in this game, but they're having a difficult time playing against a physically strong Cameroonian side. It will be 8 minutes to regulation, and another free kick for Cameroon. 2 other substitutions for Russia. Shed number 33 goes out and is forming. Shed number 8 that comes in.
Karine.
Oh, finally he takes the place of Sergei Volkov. That should about 6 substitutions carried out already by the Russians. Koundé Malon plays quickly with Harold Mokudi. Mokudi calls out for help. Ondua answers. The toss to the side of median. Miranchuk. A beautiful clearance from Cameroon. And the Cameroonians have an opportunity to pull on. Can he capture Frank Magri? Oh, in that tussle there and swept over by Soldatov Tenkov Alexandre. Frank Magri lost it, but it's not over. The ball is still green for Cameroon. Castelletto. Gonzalez has played all game. Castelletto right there. Defend the confidence of coach Rigo Besson, who has also picked out a few things. Magre! Oh, he did not get that one coming in from Darlin Yongwa. It was a beautiful pass from Darlin Yongwa, and what am I seeing, Everest? It's Elliot Jongwe.
Benjamin Elliott Jongwe, Ben Elliott Jongwe, qui vont entrer vers la fin de ce match à 5 minutes du terme, à peu près comme face au Mexique à San Diego aux États-Unis. C'est à la même période que l'ancien joueur de Chelsea, moins de 21 ans, était en rentrée. Bombekeli à la bataille, et là il y a la faute.
See, the Russian was a bit wise. He stayed there. He didn't want to move an inch. Bekele, in about to get that one, pressured him. Look at that. Put a lot of pressure on him, and it was simple. So Alexander Silyanov stayed there to prevent Bekele. He succeeded in that action. It is against Cameroon, no doubt. But it's a fight that will continue. Ben Elliott. He's coming in the last few minutes of the game. Castelletto has gone out for Ben Elliott.
Ah, un jeune prodige, Ben Elliott. Peut-être que le temps de jeu suffisant ne lui permettra pas de s'exprimer. Mais attention, c'est un jeune joueur, un jeune prodige qui sait exactement quoi faire du ballon quand il a. Le Cameroun a la possession de balle. Harold Moukoudi pour Koundé Malan. Gaël Ndoa qui a tenté la récupération russe. Attention, le couloir à droit avec le repli défensif de Noutolo qui ne laisse pas passer cette passe. Ce sera une remise en jeu pour la Russie. Karine. Karine pour Daniel Fomine. Attention, la Bertie et l'intervention d'Harold Moukoudi. La frappe à nouveau pour la Russie et le Cameroun finalement qui va se dégager à l'emporte-pièce.
That was swift, but he missed it as Jerome Gombeleki was putting a lot of pressure coming in very strongly. We should surely have Mbaizo that has come into Evarist. So let's go with this game right now. It's going to be a tough game.
Darlin Yongwa.
Darlin Yongwa.
Moukoudi. Koundé Malan. Et encore ce pressing russe. Ah, il ne vous laisse pas l'espace pour la réflexion. Il faut y aller directement. Aussitôt que vous avez amorti votre balle, il faut prendre la décision, soit d'adresser une passe, soit d'aller au dribble. Attention, la faute sur le Cameroun. Faute sur Noutolo qui se relève très rapidement. On est rentré dans les 3 dernières minutes du temps réglementaire. Mais il y a eu beaucoup de remplacements. Hein. Les 6 épuisés côté russe. Le Cameroun en est à 5 encore. Ce qui probablement propulse déjà à 5 minutes de temps additionnel.
Well, let's see how many minutes therefore the referee is going to add for the game. That is going to give Ben Elliott time. He's going to give Frank Magri time. Yongwa is going to give him time. Jerome Gom is going to give him time to be able to carry the balls and the game far ahead. But so far, it has been a game that has been intense on both sides. Russia had the opportunity to score at one point and they concretized the opportunity. Asen Adamov, who has this Asen Adamov Mukin, who has a tough time to deal with Mbaizo, who is coming in place of Castelletto. See that? Just few more seconds into regulations. Can he produce much? Here we go. It is stolen off from Koundé Malong. And the white shirts get into control. One good thing that we've noticed about the Russian reserve bench is that those on the reserve bench are as strong and as vivacious and as able as those who are on the turf. Quite great there, Alexei Miranchuk and his brother, shirt number 19, Anton Mirakchuk, have been animating beautifully the forward spec of the Russian game. As imagine 4 minutes of additional time. Yongwa. But it's a ball that goes out and Yongwa is going to bring it back into action.
Alors le temps additionnel, il ne sera que de 4 minutes pour achever ici. Troisième confrontation entre le Cameroun et la Russie. La première, c'était dans l'avantage du pays hôte de la Russie. 6 buts à 1. La deuxième en 2011, c'était 1 but, 0 but partout. Et aujourd'hui, c'est la Russie à nouveau qui tient le bambou en menant par 1 but à 0. Aïe, la faute sur Pierre Koundé ballon. Une très belle équipe russe qui occupe bien les espaces, est active. Koundé ballon. Sauf que là, il avance de manière médiane. Alors que c'est vers l'avant qu'il faut chercher les espaces. Finalement, on saute les lignes. Et ce sera encore derrière pour le Cameroun.
A great opportunity, man. That was a beautiful play there by Koundé Malong. Looked like he missed his action and his intention. But the missed header from Russia gives meaning to his purpose. Koundé Malong, all 45 minutes of this game, he has been very, very present in the game today. He has laid claim to that corner kick, an opportunity as the Cameroonians are calling out for a goal. It was a crowded defense area, and a header from Russia took the ball far out. That is lost for Cameroon.
Les 2 dernières minutes du temps additionnel et le Cameroun toujours mené 1 but à 0 dans son déplacement sur la pelouse moscovite pour affronter en amical la Russie.
Okay, Dalin Yongwa plays very quickly. Frank Magri. Dalin Yongwa trapped into 2 white shirts. They lost it in that action.
C'est compliqué d'évoluer de cette façon, s'encastrer, s'enfouir entre les jambes russes plutôt que de chercher des espaces un peu plus libres. Ça va être compliqué parce que la Russie, elle va mêler son petit jeu pour faire passer le temps. Les 2 dernières minutes qui jettent. C'est un match amical, mais ça joue franchement. Ça joue franchement autant camerounais, du côté camerounais que du côté russe.
No, it's a handball. Huh? But the referee says, play should go on, man.
Il a été clément. Khalid Saleh, le Saoudien. Il y avait bel et bien la main du Camerounais. Coup de ballon, la balle et le coup de sifflet déjà.
Good action. At least there are 45 seconds to go.
Et là, les espoirs sont minces pour ces 45 secondes. Le Cameroun va-t-il à tout le moins réussir à obtenir cette égalisation recherchée depuis la 40e minute? Nous étions là à la première période.
Another Russia-Cameroon game going the Russian way. Cameroonians surely don't like that name, Salenko. Today, Cameroonians would learn to love other names like Pinaev Sergei. That is still Russian. The flight is going to get ready to fly to France, where Senegal are waiting. Sadio Mane and teammates are waiting. It's all over.
C'est terminé. Il n'y aura pas de but camerounais. La Russie qui l'emporte 1 but à 0. Troisième confrontation dans l'histoire des 2 nations. Cameroun, Russie. Deuxième victoire donc pour la Russie. Et un match nul. Toujours pas de victoire du Cameroun. La déception du nouveau venu dans la tanière des Lions indomptables, Franck Magri. Il est entré vers la fin du match. C'était pas formidable ce qu'il a eu comme temps de jeu, mais déjà, c'était sa première apparition. Plusieurs premières apparitions il y aura eu, comme celle de Darlene Yongwa, qui est lui aussi rentré dans l'aire de jeu. C'était sympathique entre Camerounais et Russes. 1-0 donc. Le score ne bougera donc pas. Tout est allé vite, tout est terminé déjà dans cette rencontre amicale. Parlant de rencontre amicale, Bénin Boumagana, lundi prochain, on se retrouvera en France. Ce sera à Lens, puisque les Lions indomptables, immédiatement après cette rencontre, vont prendre la direction de l'Hexagone pour rentrer déjà dans la préparation du prochain match amical Cameroun-Sénégal. Et bien évidemment, vous suivrez la rencontre sur les antennes de CRTV Sport, de la CRTV en général.
And then do not forget tonight, you have to stay on CRTV Sports and Entertainment. Baldwin Sama and Rosalind Sofinke will tell you about the draw for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Côte d'Ivoire. I know your fingers are crossed, your prayers are up. The draw will tell us Cameroon's group and who they will play in the group phase. Yaoundé, thank you very much. Baldwin Sama, Rosalind Sofinke, and those of you on the set, back to you.